when Prabhupada came to New Vrindavan, came many times. Go ahead, Prabhuji. But the devotees really knocked themselves out to make everything just right for Prabhupada. And because every time Prabhupada would come, there'd be something that would go wrong. So every time they'd adjust it, you know. So out of the 10 things, they got it down to only 5 things. The next time it can only get 2 things. And the next time, they knew they had everything. They had a rocking chair for Prabhupada. They had, you know, this, that house away from the road so the people on the motorcycle were not. So, and Prabhupada checked everything out. Prabhupada came and looked at everything and okay, you know. And then Prabhupada sat down. Finally got him in his, you know, he greeted and spoke, and there now he was resting. He just sat for a few minutes after traveling, sitting in his room. And so Kirtananda said, Prabhupada, how was everything? We tried to make it perfect. Prabhupada said, there's one thing missing. The devotee said, what is that? Prabhupada said, because where Prabhupada's chair was, in the peaceful place, in the cool, clean air, in the no noise, Prabhupada's rocking chair, you look right out in the window on the beautiful fields and the hills of New Vrindavan. Prabhupada said there should be one cow, at least one cow. So they went and they tethered a baby calf and his mother outside Prabhupada's window. So whenever Prabhupada sat in his chair and looked out outside his window, he saw a nice mother cow and the baby. Then Prabhupada said, everything is perfect. You know? Yeah, lucky cows. So devotees see things differently, you know, they don't. Karmis just stumble through life. Chayarado Madhava Kunjabi Hari Chayarado Madhava Kunjabi Hari Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari Jasodanandana Bhajajana Ranjana Jasodanandana Bhajajana Ranjana Jamuntira Vanatari Jamuntira Vanatari Jairadam Madhava Kunjabihari Upejana Balava Girivanadari Yasodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanatari Jairado Madhava Kunjabihari Chayum Vishapad Paramahansa Pariva Jakachaya Satedashishaman. His Divine Grace of Acharan Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON BPT founder Charya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Kota Vaishnava Ki. Nam Char Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Shikho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Guru Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda. Giri Govardhan Ki. Vrindavan Dham Ki. Mathura Dham Ki. Dwarka Dham Ki. Navadip Dham Ki. Jagannathpuri Dham Ki. Jamuna Maya Ki. Ganga Maya Ki. Tulsi Maharani Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Sambheda Bhakta Vinda Ki. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Sri Sri Radha Giridhari Ki. Shri Krishna Sankirtana Jaga Ki. Go Premanandi. Oh, Lord. Well, we said that already. Okay. Hey, who can we ask? Hey, Govardhan, if you're free, can I have a little bit of water, some fresh water? That would be very good, because I'm having my usual issues with my voice. And another saga from Diamond in the Rough Apartments. My neighbor right next to me, his alarm clock, he's out of town. But his alarm clock is still present and went off at 1 o'clock this morning. It's still ringing. Governor can confirm. It's still ringing. So it's great living over there. It's very, helps you develop tolerance. That rare commodity. Thanks, Govardhan. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna Swadamo Bhagate Dhammagana Dibi Saha Kalana Sada Sammesha Paranarko Nidodata Narayana Namaskritcha Naram Chaivam Narottama Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayo Mudirayat. The Bhagavatam is as brilliant as the sun, is arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied with knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who have lost their vision to the dense darkness of the age of Kali shall get light out of this Purana. Before beginning our study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, we should first offer our respects to the personality of Godhead Narayan, the Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, the goddess of learning Mother Saraswati, the author Srila Vyasadeva, and my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada. So we are on, where are we? We're on the 7th canto. We're on chapter 10, and we're on, it's verse 15 through 17, but we're going to chant 15. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All righty. What do you know about that? Shri. Oh, is that on the board?
Yep.
Oh, okay. It's just a little shift in the universe. Parada. Uvacha Varam Viraya Etat Te Varadeshan Maheshvara Yat Anidat Pita Me Tvam Avidvams Teja Aishwaram Shri Parado Vacha Varam Varaya Etate Varadeshan Maheshwara Yaranidat Pitame Tvam Avidvam Svatejasvam Tejaishvaram. No. Shri Parada Uvacha Varam Varaya Etate Varadeshan Maheshwara Yaranidat Pitami Tvam Avidvams Tejaishvaram Shri Parada Uvacha Varam Varaya Etate Varadeshan Maheshwara Yanidat Pitame Tvam Avidvam Tejaishvaram. Now just go, just roll. Varam Varaya Etate Varadeshan Maheshwara Yaranindat Pitame Tvamavidvams Tejaishvaram. Sri Parada Uvacha Varam Varaya Etate Varadeshan Maheshwara Yanidat Pitame Tvamavidvam Sejaishwaram. Sri Parada Uvacha Varam Varaya Etate Varadeshan Maheshwara Yaranidat Pitame Tvamavidvam Tejaishwaram. Everybody scared off? Anybody else want to try it? Sri Parada Uvacha Varam Varaya Etate Varadeshan Maheshwara Yaranidat Pitame Tvamavidvam Seyasvaram. All right. Hey Govinda.
Varam Varaya Etate
Varam Varaya Etate
Varadeshan Maheshwara
Varadeshan Maheshwara
Yad Anindat Pitame
Yaranidat Pitame
Vamavidvam Teja Aishwaram.
Tvamavidvam Tejaishvara. Parada Uvacha. Prahlad Maharaj said, Varam, benediction. Varaye, I pray. Etat, this. Te, from you. Varade Ishat, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who offers benedictions even to such exalted demigods as Brahma and Shiva. Maha Ishvara, my Supreme Lord. Yet that, Anidat, vilified. Have I gone too far? No. Pita, Father. Me, my. Tvam, you. Avidvan, without knowledge of. Oh, Teja, strength. Aishvaram, supremacy. All right, now we'll read the English for the whole verse because it fits together. Prahlad Maharaj said, O Supreme Lord, because you are so merciful to the fallen souls, I ask you for only one benediction. I know that my father, at the time of his death, had already been purified by your glance upon him. But because of his ignorance of your beautiful power and supremacy, he was unnecessarily angry at you, falsely thinking that you were the killer of his brother. Thus, he directly blasphemed your lordship, the supreme spirit, the spiritual master of all living entities, and committed heavily sinful activities directed against me, your devotee. I wish that he be excused for these sinful activities. We are going to skip everybody repeating the word for word because of the time factor. What we're going to do is, because we promised to finish up on that, the slides on Sanatana Goswami and his deity Madan Mohan. So we'll do a short class and then finish those slides. There's not too many. Okay, Prabhupada's purport. Although Hiranyakasipu was purified, as soon as he came in contact with the Lord's lap and the Lord saw him, Prahlad Maharaj still wanted to hear from the Lord's own mouth that his father had been purified by the Lord's causeless mercy. Prahlad Maharaj offered his prayer to the Lord for the sake of his father. As a Vaishnava son, despite all the inconveniences imposed upon him by his father, he could not forget his father's affection. Om Ganata Mirandasya Gyana Ganasalakaya Jakshushrimalatangina Tazareshi Gurave Namaha. You know, Prabhupada, his translations were not always exactly and importantly limited to the Sanskrit roots of the words. And Harisari tells a story that, you know, Prabhupada's books were distributed to libraries, universities across the world, around the world. And they would get, what do you call it, accolades or, you know, whatever it is, affirmations of the quality of the books from scholars around the world. And so this one professor, and he was from some big university, Georgetown or something, whatever, and he said, there's no doubt that the Bhaktivedanta books are the best in the field. And the makeup, you know, the print up, the artistry, the spirit, the commentaries, everything is excellent. I only have one complaint. Prabhupada was taking his massage at the time. And he said, so he's there on the mat, you know, Prabhupada's sitting cross-legged, and Harisari's massaging Prabhupada's back. And the professor says, everything's great. Only one problem is that Bhaktivedanta Swami only stresses Krishna Bhakti. And Prabhupada slammed his hand on the mat and said, that is my success. He said, I've written these books in such a way they cannot squeeze out any other meaning. So that's one side of it. He kept everyone within the pure understanding of the Bhagavatam. But even beyond that, Prabhupada had deep realization of the actual conversation, what was actually transpiring, what Krishna was actually saying. There's a name for Krishna, which I can't remember at the moment, but it means one who speaks in mysterious terms. Krishna doesn't always speak very, you know, you have to be a little, you know, there's a little word play, or there's that section in Nectar of Devotion where Radharani and Krishna are joking. What does Vaishya mean? Well, Vaishya can mean, you know, dusk or twilight. Vaishya can mean dress. Vaishya can mean, you know, so many things. And they play back and forth on nuance. So as Prabhupada's commentaries and translations, it's not that they're not accurate. It's not that he slanted them in a particular way. It's that he has deep realization of what Krishna actually was saying, what the devotee was actually saying, what actually transpired. So what you're not getting a distortion, you're getting the actual, what do you call it? Like when something's out of focus or it's a little blurry and you bring it into crisp, clear focus. That's what you're actually getting with Prabhupada's commentaries. Because I've heard people say that. Well, Prabhupada kind of riffs on this, like a jazz riff on the Sanskrit. No, that's not what's happening. He's bringing it into full and complete focus. I forget who said it. One of my devotee friends, but said that, what we're playing checkers while Krishna's playing chess. So, the devotee understands the import of Krishna's intent and action. So I just wanted to mention that, because when Prabhupada offers, anyway, you can find the word yourself. What is it? He says, offers benedictions, even to share. Well, let's go back and see what it is. Because, how does it? Prabhupada translates the word. It's one word. Where is it? Okay, Vrada Ishat, which Prabhupada translates the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who offers benedictions, even to such exalted demigods as Brahma and Shiva. So Prabhupada goes deep and expands. And it's an important point, because people are this Ishtadev, this one, Brahma Samiti, Ishvara Parama Krishna. So whoever it is, you can't really go higher than Shiva or Lord Brahma. On one hand, accepting Krishna out of that. But even Lord Brahma, the creator and the destroyer of all things, they go to Krishna for benedictions. They actually draw all of their strength from Krishna. So Prabhupada puts that all into two words, and then, so you get the real weight of the thing. Now, it appears to be paradoxical that Prabhupada says in his short purport that Prahlad cannot forget the affection of his father. Hang on a minute here. With the elephants and the poison and the pit full of snakes, and threw him off a cliff, pot of boiling ghee. We don't know if it was ghee. Might have been vegan. You never know. So, but the point, what? So how do you square that? You square that one way, and there's multiple ways to square it, or to, align it. And I'm going to tell one. No, I'm thinking. Because the devotee, it's a fact. We know that Hiranyakasipu. Now, it may have been referring to, he sat his son on his lap and affectionately smelled his head, and, oh, my little Prahlad, what did you learn in school today? Talk about truth to power, Prahlad says, they don't teach me anything valuable, but I do know something valuable. But there was affection, that father and mother, good mother from a good father. But you can't deny the fact that when Prahlad didn't do what he wanted to do, didn't become his supplicant son, he rage. He was, anyway, that's off the track. So the point I'm trying to make is, but how does a devotee see? Because what's the difference? You've got the same, what was this building? This building was a movie. It started off, it was built by the Army Corps, by the Navy Corps of Engineers. It was built by the Navy as a barracks for soldiers going to World War II. Sailors being shipped out of San Diego, and this was and it's built like a bridge. That's a great building. If there's an earthquake, it flexes It won't break off its foundation because it's built like the trusses of a. If you go upstairs, you go in the attic, you can see. So it was a military barracks. It was a movie theater. It was a factory. It was an Elks Lodge. Have I forgot? Which means they just sat in here and drank, played cards. Anything else? So how is it that it's a temple? It's the same building. So it's the purpose that it's used for. So the consciousness is what determines matter or spirit, good or bad. It has nothing to do with the material interactions of the modes of nature. So how does a devotee experience the world? A devotee sees the goodness. Prabhupada he wrote to me personally, chastising me. Well, I'll tell the background story. I'm just thinking of the time. I had been transferred. I was a brahmachari in Los Angeles, a bhakta actually, and then a brahmachari. And Karandar called me into his office one day, and he said, they need help in St. Louis. Would you like to go to St. Louis? And I said, well, let me think about it. And in LA was the world capital of ISKCON. Prabhupada was coming there in and out all the time. Vishnujan Swami was there leading Harinam. I mean, you can just imagine. It was just wonderful. It had the most devotees of any temple. This is 1969 and 1970. So, but this is 1970 by this time. So, I didn't really want to leave, to tell you the truth. And I was thinking, but then I thought, okay, well, whatever. I'm supposed to be surrendered. I'm supposed to be a soldier in Lord Chaitanya's armies. And so, okay, wherever they send me, I'll go. So, because Karandar told me, I said, let me think about it. He said, okay. It was about 10 o'clock in the morning. He said, we've got a ticket for you. We've got a plane ticket for you for this afternoon. I said, okay. So anyway, I reported back, I'm willing to go. I packed up my 3 dhotis, my Bhagavad Gita, and my japa beads, and off we went. But here's the point. When I arrived in St. Louis, it was quite an interesting experience. My only association was Brahmachari Association was a devotee who's passed away. So I can mention his name, Gadagraj, remember him, Gadagraj, from LA? The Gadagraj, Bhakti Jean, who after the morning program would put on Western dress and go down to St. Joseph University, the Catholic university down the street, and eat candy bars out of the vending machine and watch the pretty girls. That was my association. And the temple president turned out to be a thief. Oh, yeah, I was the treasurer, and the books never added up. I was an innocent kid. I was, I must have made a mistake. But nothing added up. So, it was wild. I could go on and on and on. So I wrote to Prabhupada. And I wrote to Srila Prabhupada, and I said, Prabhupada, can I go back to Los Angeles? It's a zoo here. And I said it, a little more gently, but, Prabhupada immediately caught the drift, and I was criticizing. I didn't mention names, but I said this, that, And Prabhupada wrote, the first line of the letter was, it is very good that you are concerned about the spiritual advancement of your God brothers. That wasn't what I was concerned about at all. I was concerned about my living in a happy place. I wasn't thinking about them and, how can we help them advance? That wasn't what I was thinking about at all. And then Prabhupada doubled, because that's how I should have been thinking. That's the point. And then Prabhupada doubled down. Prabhupada said, there are bees and there are flies. Now, where do you find, this is in the letter, you can see it's in the letters book. Where do you find flies? Where do you find flies? Nasty places. Prabhupada said they're always looking for a nasty place. Where do you find bees? What are bees doing? Looking for a nice place. Busy as a bee. Make a bee line. They're not fooling around. You never see a bee, oh, I'm just chilling. You know, I mean, they're pretty focused, generally speaking. So Prabhupada said, devotees are like bees. They always see the good in others. And flies are always looking for faults. So what did Prabhupada just call me? He just said, you're a fault-finding fly. Snap out of it, you know. I thought, whoa, you know. Guru means heavy. It was great. It was fantastic. It was some of the best advice I ever got. The other good advice was also from Prabhupada. So my point being that how does a devotee see the world? Prahlad Maharaj is thinking, oh, my affectionate father. He's misdirected. He's thinking He's thinking that Lord Now, let's take another contradiction. He says that he's wrongly thinking. My father was wrongly thinking that you've killed his brother. Well, hang on a minute. It's right there in the Bhagavatam. He killed Hiranyaksha, right? So, but now you're saying you did. I mean, it's there. What canto was it in? It's right there in the Bhagavatam. Huh? 7 canto. It's right in there. He definitely, killed him. That's her, Hiranyaksha, and then the earth falling and the boar saving it. What? In the form of a boar? Krishna just tapped him behind the ear after playing around with him and freaking out the demigods, bringing the thing just in the perfect dramatic fever pitch. And everyone thinks, kill him, don't play with him, And he just tapped him on exit Hiranyaksha. So he definitely killed him. So what is this? Is the Bhagavatam wrong? Or is Prahlad wrong? What's the answer? No. What he was killed by was his... Krishna says he's not the cause of our enjoyment or suffering in this world. Krishna's completely... I was going to say that Krishna's neutral. But he's not neutral. He's affectionate to every living entity. Actually, what does it say in the verse? Let's see. I know that my father, at the time of his death... Okay, no, hold on. I was looking for... he was unnecessarily angry at you, falsely thinking that you were the killer of his brother. Actually, his brother was killed by his own karmic activities. Just like you go before a judge. If you're in a trust case, the judge can award you millions of dollars. And if you were caught, red-handed, pilfering from your business or whatever it is, you go to jail. Is it the judge's fault that you went to jail? And was the judge, of course, nowadays it is true, but in a general, in a accurate or a proper condition, the judge is neutral. But according to the activities of one or the activities of the other, they get the result. So their activities cause the result, not the Lord. Now the Lord was the dispenser. He was the deliverer of appropriate justice. But what put you in that situation were your own activities. So it's not that, Krishna, like King Lear on the, I love the picture, railing in the storm, that, against God, No. Krishna's neutral. He's not neutral. He's actually affectionate. He's affectionate to every living entity. And why are we suffering? Is the suffering, like the Christians describe suffering, well, you did something sinful, so you get it. Too bad. what is it? Anyway, there's so many examples. But the point is that you either go to heaven or you go to hell, and that's it. And the suffering is, well, you deserved it. In fact, in what is it, Revelations, they're sitting on the left hand of God, right hand of God, and you can hear. I always forget the German, Schadenfreude or whatever it is. What is? Yeah, it means, it's a German word. It means it's that happiness derived by seeing others suffering. Like the bully who beat you up in high school, whenever it was. And then later on, you make all the money and you drive by in your Mercedes, and he's on the street corner selling apples, and you can splash mud on him as you go by. The happiness in seeing others suffering. It's actually a word for it in German, which is interesting. So the idea, but the point I'm trying to make is that they say, to finish that, they're sitting on the right hand of God. It's not enough that you made it to heaven and you're sitting on the right hand of God. You have to hear the gnashing of teeth and the wailing of those in hell. Then it's perfect. I made it, you didn't, tough luck. That's in Revelations. It's in Revelation. Yeah, they're sitting on the right. I swear to you, because it struck me. You're sitting on the right hand of God, and they hear the gnashing of teeth and the wailing of those in hell. Imagine such a thing. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that Krishna doesn't just, well, you didn't make it, you blew it. You, like a spurned lover, you didn't surrender to me. You cavorted with the devil. Well, tough luck for you. I'm going to, you smiting and smoting, and is it past tense, smitten? I don't know exactly how it works. But the point I'm trying to make is that, and I am trying to make a point, that Krishna's not the cause of our difficulties. We are the cause of our difficulties, our own activities. And it is not just a dead-end, arbitrary process. I remember being at the campus, University of Michigan. In the center of the campus, they have a big, it's called, I forget what the name of it is, but they have a big, like a medallion in the ground. It's the logo. What's the right word? When they have a emblem. Who said emblem? Yeah, it's the emblem of the school. Whatever. The seal. That's it. Like the state seal. So it's in bronze and it's big size, and it says education, and then it gives the Latin, and it says to draw from darkness into light. So why is there suffering in this world? Is it just arbitrary tit for tat, action, reaction? You did something wrong, you broke the law, well, we're going to smack you over the head. But there's a purpose. The purpose is reformation, to draw from darkness into light. So we are suffering by our own activities. You caused it. And it's not that just, I am a wrathful and vengeful God. That's the Old Testament. Yeah, I'm a wrathful and vengeful God. You step out of line, buddy, and you are going to be turned into a pillar of salt. And there's a reason for that. Prabhupada explains. Because if somebody is so sinful, you say, hey, come over here, sit down. You lock them in chains so they can't cause any more trouble. Hey. So that's, and they scare the wits out of them. Some people, the only thing that works is you have a stick. Scares the wits out of people. So the Bible just scares the daylights out of people. But the real point is that Krishna is not causing a difficulty, and even though it appears like we're suffering, Prabhupada gives that great sentence, and we got to wrap up. It is this, the apparent suffering is the beneficial, therapeutic hand of the all-merciful Lord. Unpack that sentence for a minute. The therapeutic, beneficial hand of the all-merciful Lord. And we'll end. We had other things to say, but let's see if there's anything else that paints the picture more fully. Well, I think we should follow. Well, just for fun, it talks about how Prahlad was already, Hiranyakasipu was already purified just by the touch of the Lord's lap. Now, when I was, again, in Los Angeles, the Nectar of Devotion had just come out. And in the evenings, Prabhupada was in the temple. He'd be there in LA Temple. He was there 3 months at a time. Come back, he'd be there at a month at a time. And for evening class, he gave Bhagavatam class every morning. And in the evening class, he would either read from Krishna book or Nectar of Devotion, because they'd just come out. So we were reading in Nectar of Devotion. Someone would read, Pradumna or whoever was there would read. And then Prabhupada would comment, and there'd be question and answer. So it was in this section, and it was describing that with Narada Muni, when he took Charnamrita, sometimes he would be in such ecstasy that his entire body would expand, just like Lord Chaitanya's body would, there's so many scriptures there in CC. It's a mystical thing. So and you can find it in Nectar Devotion, that Narada Muni's chest would expand so much, his Brahman thread would snap. So, that's pretty far out. Added to the far out things in Nectar Devotion. So after the question and answer, devotee naturally asked, Prabhupada, I take Charnamrita every morning. And, my Brahman thread's my chest's not expanding. So what gives? What's the story? And Prabhupada gave the example that these are examples of the potential of devotional activities. That's the potency dormant in that activity. Just like the people say, you read we read, that's what launched me on this. It was this morning it was yesterday that you read that you just once chanting Hare Krishna. And people say this all the time. I chanted Hare Krishna, nothing happened to me. Of course, they don't know. They're not looking in the cosmic sense, and they were going straight to Patala Loka, the hellish planets. Now their whole thing's converted and they're going back to God. They don't realize what that one chanting of Hare Krishna actually did. But even in their immediate experience, I chanted Hare Krishna, nothing happened to me. So it depends on the receptivity and the qualification of the person. The right person, it's a mundane example, but someone who knows music and ethos and the whole thing, they hear Beethoven's this and that, and they shed tears. And the dullard wants to listen to, AC/DC or heavy metal, I don't know, huh? Hip-hop or whatever. What is that, So it depends on the qualification of the individual, the experience. So in a similar fashion, just by the touch of the Lord, we should understand. And here's the answer Prabhupada gave. In addition to explaining things, Prabhupada said, why are these things in the Shastra? They're in the Shastra to remind us of the potency of devotional activities. We should understand we are on the accelerated jet stream path back to Godhead. Because we're doing all these things. We're chanting the holy name, we're taking prasadam, we're serving the Vaishnavas, we're taking darshan of the deities. Prabhupada says you just raise your hands in front of the deities and lifetimes of sinful activities are gone. So, we may not be feeling that. Just because we're not feeling it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. But I'll give you an example. It's a long story which we don't have time for. I was one time in India we were on the wrong train. We were on a mail train instead of the express train. And we had to jump. I was at the brahmachari, and we had to jump off a moving train. Anybody here jumped off a moving train? It was just starting to move. It wasn't like going, but it was pulling out, just starting to pull out of the station. And I said, we got to jump. Otherwise we're on a 36-hour train to South India. We got to jump. And the brahmachari, so we're just, we're in the station. It's just starting to move. So I said, look, I pushed him. Because he wasn't going to jump. I pushed him out. And then we had 2 big trunks full of stuff for the deities. I threw out one trunk. I threw out another trunk. And then I got to jump, And I thought, that's not going that fast. I'd seen the cowboy movies. You jump and you roll, Figure, well, I'll jump and run. I was young in those days, young and foolish. So I jumped, I had no choice on one hand, Otherwise I was going to wind up in Chennai or, whatever it was. And I was moving pretty fast. I didn't have a choice whether to roll. I tumbled. I got all banged up and this, but I got off the train. But my point is, here's an example you can relate to. That if when you're in a car, you're going 70 miles an hour on the freeway. It doesn't feel like you're going 70. You're just sitting on your you're on your. Are they always sitting in their, what do they call it, a lazy boy? You're sitting there on your sofa, zipping, but you're going 70 miles an hour. So you don't realize how fast you're going. So the point I'm making, a point that Prabhupada made, was that these extreme examples of the potency of devotional service are meant to encourage us that we're engaged in devotional service, however foolish and sinful and off the track and prone to go for the small potatoes I may be. Devotional service is so powerful that it can save even me. And Prabhupada gave the example, if I have a green mango or a ripe mango. Now, green mango, ripe mango. Is there a difference or are they the same? You can argue that there's a difference. You can argue that they're the same. Now, what aligns their, I don't know, I can't think of the right word, but what makes it fit, comports the fact that they're the same and they're different. What's the difference between a green mango and a ripe mango, other than Dravida? Anyone know? Yeah. Time. Time's the only difference. Time is the only difference. So between certainly myself and my neophyte condition and Narada Muni and his Brahman thread snapping, the only difference is time. And as long as we're engaged in the super potent activities of devotional service, we should have confidence. We should have certainty that as long as I stay in Krishna's devotional service, whatever I may be now, it's going to happen. Okay, so now what to do? Let's zip through these quickly. We'll go quick. There's only 10 slides. Okay, so, all right. Okay. I'm going to migrate. Hey, Govinda. And I have a laser pointer. Thank you very much. Will, you're my age. Just to move. We could shut that door for a little while. Okay, so this is Madan Mohan, 5,000 years old, installed by Rajnava, Krishna's great-grandson. And we told the story of how he wound up in the hands of Sanatana Goswami next. Just be cool. So this is in their temple in Karoli, we explained how the deity moved. Deities move sometimes. Radha Giridhari moved twice. Deities move sometimes. Sometimes they refuse to move. They have all kinds of things. So just to give you a sample, this kitchen is probably about as big as this block, the whole kitchen. It's all different, you know. And they're the happy Brahmins, and everything's cooked in ghee, everything's on time. It's just fantastic. Next. And for what is it now? I think it's 100 rupees. 100 rupees is how much? $2? It's around, isn't it? Something like that. It's a little more than $2. You get a bag. You get a bag about this big, full of samosas and sweets and luglu. It's unbelievable. Best deal. And they remember this lineage from Sanatana Goswami. From Sanatana Goswami to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This picture, this is, I don't want to blind somebody here. Oh, almost did. This is Lord Nityananda. This is Lord Chaitanya. This is a poster. I'd love to have it. It's about, I don't know, maybe 5 feet by probably about 8 feet. And it's hanging right behind the deity. When you go on darshan around the deity, you go past it every time. It's really blissful. Next. It's said, I think by, what is that verse? Because I'll remember her name. Uttara. Pahi Pahi Mahayogin. So this is, Uttara said that when she saw the 3 deities, I don't know how many there were. I think there were 7 altogether, installed by Brajnaba, Krishna's great-grandson. That if you see Madan Mohan and Govindadev and Gopinath, no, have I got that right? Yeah, Gopinath. It's the perfect darshan. One is the perfect example of Krishna's lotus feet. Another is a perfect representative of Krishna. Well, you'll see. So Madan Mohan is considered the perfect representation of Krishna's lotus feet. And that's Sambandha. That's where spiritual life begins. You're at the lotus feet. Sambandha means, we could spend more time, but we don't have it. It means to understand, okay, what's the relationship of everything? Who am I? What is this material world? Where's Krishna? How does it all fit? How do the pieces fit? That's Sambandha. And to enter into the first step of devotional service, Sambandha, we pray to Sanatana Goswami's Madan Mohan. And Prabhupada says Madan Mohan means the conqueror of lust. Cupid, who makes everyone mad in lust. So the beginning of spiritual life, to actually get a clear picture of what's going on here, we need to conquer lust. So that's Madan Mohan, Sanatana Goswami. Next. Just to finish the sequence, this is Govindadev. This is Rupa Goswami's Govindadev. And Govindadev is Abhideya, or function. And it's the hands and chest. We're moving up. So you have the lower half of the torso, the upper half of the torso, and we're going to get to the face. So the Govindadev is Abhideya, which is function. Once you know where everything fits together, what the relationship is, then how do you function? How do you act with that understanding? Well, you engage in devotional service, you serve the Lord like that. So, next. And the last of the 3 is Gopinath. That's prayojana, or the fruit. That's the pure Krishna prema. And that's the full lotus face. Just like the Bhagavatam, first canto is like the lotus feet, and then you move your way up, and ultimately you get to the 10th canto, which is the face. So, next. We'll take it later. Next. So, and that's also in Gayatri. Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijana Bala Swaha. And it's Krishnaya is Krishna, Govinda is Govinda, and Gopijana Bala, Prabhupada says, is Gopinath. So all of those are in just one part of Gayatri. The whole understanding of Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana is there. It's quite mystical. Next. And you know the story of the touchstone. This is Sanatana Goswami. I don't want to take the time because we don't have it. But it gives you the mood of Sanatana. It's the person that gave me your most valuable thing. He'd heard that Sanatana Goswami had something very valuable, so he wanted to get it. He was willing to threaten Sanatana Goswami. He was getting ready to. He didn't have to. He said, what's the most valuable thing you've got? So he had a touchstone. Anything you touch turns to gold. And it's interesting about touchstones because you find them in Chinese literature. You find them in medieval, the Middle Ages, in Europe. I don't know about America, but you find them in India. You find the idea of a touchstone all over the world. It's interesting. Sariputta says in cultural anthropology, if you find something in many diverse cultures throughout time, all over different disparate parts of the world, there's some truth to it. That's a principle, according to Sariputta, who I'm not going to argue with, is a principle of truth in cultural archaeology. If it's the same kind of thing is going on all over the world, well, you get the picture. There's some root cause to it. So who knows about it? Well, anyway, touchstones. So give me your most valuable thing. Oh, I have a touchstone, turns things to gold. Oh, give it to me, please. Gave it to the man, And the important thing is Sanatana Goswami was keeping in a garbage dump. I mean, the story goes on. So that which was considered most valuable. The thief thought, because you're never satisfied, burns like fire and never satisfied. Lust, Krishna says in the Gita. So that thief, putting two and two together, Sanatana Goswami's keeping the touchstone in a garbage dump. What does that mean? What is one thinking? Materially, Dravida. He must have something else. If he's keeping that in a garbage heap, he cheated me. I asked her, and he gives me this touchstone. Okay, fine. Maybe he's got something that turns things into diamonds. Hey. So he went back, said to Sanatana, hey, Sanatana Goswami, can you give me that water? Thanks, Gordon. Hey, what else you got? You're keeping it in the garbage. Oh, I didn't eat the whole table, but that's smart. No, it's smart, actually. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. So, Sanatana Goswami said, yeah, I have something much more valuable. Oh, give it to me. First, you got to throw that touchstone away. Got to throw it in the river. So he did it. And what did he give him? Sanatana Goswami? Gave him the holy name. So anyway, that's give you a mood to Sanatana Goswami. Next. So he used to offer 1,008 obeisances to different Vaishnavas and holy places within his mind. He used to do Manaseva, 1,008 obeisances. And then he would circumambulate Govardhan Hill every day. And when I was healthy, I went around Govardhan Hill. It took me about 6 hours. Yeah, something like that. I mean, if you're move at a rapid pace, you can probably do it in 4.5. But you can imagine, he's an old man. Passed away at 70 years old. So there it is. But he wouldn't give it up. Actually, Krishna appeared before him and said, it's breaking my heart. You don't have to do it anymore. He said, no. Prabhupada said that the vows of Sanatana Goswami were like immovable, like the lines on a stone. I mean, we give it up. We take initiation. We take initiation. It gets a little difficult. We bail out, or people practice Krishna consciousness light, or the two regulative principles. The other two, well, that's okay, or whatever. So we take things. We get married. We get divorced. We take so many things lightly. So, but like the lines on a stone. If Sanatana Goswami made a vow, that was it. So here he's an old man. Krishna's appearing before him personally, saying you don't have to do it. He wouldn't give it up. So what was the resolution? Krishna, next. I think it's next. Oh, and just to give you an idea of the distance, this is just part of Govardhan Hill. Lest I blind someone. You know, it goes all the way, you can barely see, but it's Govardhan Hill, it's big. Next. So what Krishna did was he stomped his foot or pressed his foot onto a rock. And this is that rock with that impression of Krishna's lotus feet. I mean, figure it's been 500 years, and they're bathing it every day. But this is Krishna's lotus foot. And Krishna said, all right, fine. You won't give it up? We'll make a deal. You just go around this stone. You circumambulate this stone. That will be sufficient. It was a Govardhan Shila. So they're still worshiping that Govardhan Shila at Govardhan Hill. Next. So these are some of the books, Brihad Bhagavatam Rita, Hari Bhakti Vilas. We were talking about Hari Bhakti Vilas the other day, how it's designed for householders, you know, and it's to line up with the Smarta Brahmins and line everything up with devotional service. So the South Indians can't criticize that we don't follow. And the Krishna Lila Stava, that's a summary of yeah. So it's Soma, and anyway, each of these books is a jewel. Next. And these are just some of the main ones. So this is, we're almost done. This is Sanatana Goswami, entered in Samadhi in 1558 at 70 years old. Next. And that's the Samadhi Murti. This is Sanatana Goswami's, that's the Samadhi at, anyway, it's another story. But the Samadhi, this is at the base. You've been to Madan Mohan Temple. You saw the pictures earlier of the up on top of the hill and overlooking Jamuna. So at the base there, on the side of the hill, at the lotus feet of Madan Mohan, this is the Samadhi. This is the Samadhi of Sanatana Goswami. These are other great Vaishnavas appeared in Sanatana Goswami's line. And this pavilion, this nice shade pavilion, was built by the devotees from Russia. Or they paid for it. Yeah, they collected the money. And it's very nice. It has a nice, not just wrought iron, but it's got nice metal grill to protect it. You can sit in there peacefully without the monkeys grabbing your bead bag. So next. And this is the interior of that Sanatana Goswami's Samadhi. Next. And this is the picture of Sanatana Goswami inside his Samadhi. Next. And this is to give you, this is looking down from the hill that Madan Mohan Temple is. It's right at the base of the hill. This, of course, from another angle. This is the Samadhi. And this is the nice shade pavilion. Next. And in Krishna's Leela, Sanatana Goswami is Labanga Manjari. She is a direct assistant of Vishaka. So you've got Radharani, you've got Vishaka, then you've got Labanga, who's actually comes as Sanatana Goswami. Something amazing. Next. So the point of this presentation, you know, that we're finishing it up, but is to, just like we should be appreciate and have confidence and patience that the power of devotional service to purify us. We should also remember that this is the line we come in. These are the instructions that we're following, and their mercy is flowing. These acharyas are not limited by time and space, but it's actually pouring down on our head. And with these books, and with these acharyas, and with the holy name, we can be certain of success. We should remember the wind that fills our sails for the boat across the ocean of birth and death. Okay, next. I think we're done. Yeah, so there's all glories to Sanatana Goswami, and thank you for sitting so patiently. Hare Krishna. All right, we can get the lights. We're done.